The Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception in St. John, New Brunswick, opened its doors in 1855. It has served the people faithfully and continuously ever since. It remains a symbol of faith and a testament to the tenacity of the province's early immigrants who, with their own hands, built this historic house of worship in Canada's oldest incorporated city. By the mid-1800s, the city of St. John was a bustling center of finance, shipbuilding, and transportation. Tens of thousands poured into the city and province in just a few years. Some 30,000 Irish immigrants alone between 1843 and 1847.
When the Irish arrived, they had come from a very Catholic country, and now that they landed on a new shore, they still wanted to live their Catholic vision after having experienced great hardship in Ireland and great hardship on board the boats. Many of the children arrived orphans. The parents arrived with very little, but their faith was what made them say, well, we need to build a church to worship in because the faith is important to us. And there wasn't a church big enough to accommodate them. The story is that the Irish said to the bishop in Fredericton, if you come to St. John, we will build you a cathedral. Initially, you probably didn't have a group of skilled laborers who had all specialized in building cathedrals. They just thought, we have a job to do, and we're going to do it. So they started digging, they started laying the foundation, and little by little, this cathedral rose to what it is today. So they were the initial cathedral builders.
The people rallied, and in less than 2 years, the first Mass was celebrated at Midnight Mass, 1855, and over 3,000 people were in the cathedral that evening.
Despite the commercial prosperity in St. John, the needs of the immigrants were overwhelming. The bishop called upon Irish-born Honoria Conway, a native of St. John and a novice with the Sisters of Charity of New York. She returned to New Brunswick with a few companions to establish a religious community, which became the first English-speaking Roman Catholic religious congregation founded in Canada. They set about opening schools, an orphanage, a hospital, and so much more to educate the young and care for the sick and vulnerable. In 1871, the cathedral was completed when a steeple was added on top of the bell tower. At 300 feet above sea level, it remains the highest point on St. John's skyline. On July 16, 1885, the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception was consecrated. Never in the history of the Catholic Church in New Brunswick had there been such a public manifestation of religious and ceremonial jubilation. The presence of Catholic communities settling in New Brunswick can be traced to the late 1700s. Beautiful chapels and churches began dotting the landscape. French-speaking Acadians, English and Gaelic-speaking Scots and Irish, also Maliseet and Mi'kmaq, lived in their own communities.
The churches reflected patterns of settlement. Their highway was the river. Before roads and railways were built. So each community had to have their own place of worship that was accessible to them so that they could have community in their faith. So you'll find in all these villages and towns their own little church.
Today, these parish and mission churches established throughout the diocese remain connected to their spiritual center, the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception.
A cathedral church is the mother church over which the bishop presides, and his responsibility is to care for the people as Jesus, the Good Shepherd.
Over the years, the ravages of time have taken their toll on the beautiful Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception. The bells in the steeple have been silenced. There's an opportunity waiting to ensure they ring again. The Waterloo Village neighborhood, where the cathedral stands, has fallen into decline. Many of the buildings in the cathedral block have disappeared altogether. We can't let our heritage slip away.
Years ago, when my predecessors were here, and as the years went by, there was not only this cathedral church, just outside was a nursing home, an orphanage, and then the mother house of the Sisters of Charity. A little up the street, there was a high school that the sisters took care of.
St. Vincent's High School has been empty for a number of years. Now it's a part of this upwelling of activity to turn that into affordable housing.
When I think of St. Vincent's, I think of my mom going to high school there and then it closing down and then me being able to go to school there and then having people live in there. It is a really good thing.
This block has become known far and wide as an extraordinary example of community care and outreach. And part of the program aims to, using the cathedral as a centerpiece, to restore those services and those facilities that have been so much a part of what's going on here. At this point in time, we've reached a critical need to make repairs to the roof of the church, to the building envelope. The bell tower is next. Some of the stonework where the deterioration is quite significant outside. There's mortar missing, and the further we investigate, the more we find. And once we've secured the envelope of the building, we can look to the repairs on the inside. If you look at the ceiling, there's plaster falling down. I mean, there's risk of people sitting in the pews, so it's quite serious. The stained glass windows have been repaired over the years, but there is lots of work to be done to make sure that they're not in any danger as well. Millions of dollars of maintenance work are required to keep it for the next 100 years.
I've always had a love for the cathedral. I was born in 1943 and lived in this parish till 1970. Went to school here, was an altar boy here at the cathedral. Baptized, First Communion, Confirmation.
I was baptized at the cathedral. I just remember going there every Sunday morning with my mom and my family and having family mass together. It really brings your family closer together when you experience that.
It's a symbol of unity for the diocese, and it's also a heritage site in the city. Part of what the Irish people, when they moved from Ireland, put into this building. And it's significant that it be saved, preserved.
My great-great-grandfather was a stonemason from Ireland and worked on this church when he came to St. John and started his business. I feel very passionately about seeing what it represents and being preserved. The city has gotten behind the program and they're revitalizing the block, repaving, rebuilding the sidewalks, getting involved in the excitement of the program. And so it will be a beautiful sight when this project is finished.
Quoting St. Paul, we are being built into a spiritual edifice in which God is present. That not only reflects our diocesan church, but is captured by our mother church, the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception. I can't do it alone. I need your help. Please make this a reality so that future generations can see the presence of God dwelling among us.
In the months ahead, much work remains to be done. As a historic building of national significance, St. John's Cathedral deserves our support, and you can help preserve it. Make it your legacy. Your investment will reward you for generations to come.